August 10th, 2022, and I would like to bring you this day in history. On August 10th, 1977, 24-year-old postal employee David Berkowitz is arrested and charged with being the son of Sam, the serial killer who terrorized New York City for more than a year, killing 6 young people and wounding 7 others with a .44 caliber revolver. Because Berkowitz generally targeted attractive young women with long brown hair, hundreds of women had their hair cut short and dyed blonde during the time he terrorized the city. Thousands more simply stayed at home at night. After his arrest, Berkowitz claimed that demons and a black Labrador retriever owned by a neighbor named Sam had ordered him to commit the crimes. To commit murder. On Christmas Eve 1975, he gave into these internal voices and severely wounded 15-year-old Michelle Foreman with a hunting knife. January 1976, he moved into a 2-family home in Yonkers, a suburb of New York. Berkowitz became convinced that the German Shepherd that lived in the house and other neighbors' dogs were possessed by demons who ordered him to murder attractive young women. One of the neighbor's dogs who was shot during this time, probably by Berkowitz. He also began to see neighbors as demons. In April, Berkowitz moved to an apartment house in Yonkers, but his new home also had dogs. His neighbor, retiree Sam Carr, had a black Labrador retriever named Harvey, who Berkowitz believed pleaded with him to kill. He also saw Sam Carr as a powerful demon and was referring to him when he later called himself Son of Sam. On July 28, 1976, Berkowitz quit his job as a security guard. Early the next morning, he walked up to a parked car in the Bronx where 2 young women were talking and fired 5 bullets from his .44 caliber revolver into the vehicle. 18-year-old Donna Laurea was killed instantly, and her friend Jody Valenti was wounded. Police could find no motives or leads in the shooting. In the early morning of October 24th, Berkowitz struck again, critically wounding 20-year-old Carl De Niro as he sat in his car and talked with a female friend in Queens. A little more than a month later, on November 26, 16-year-old Donna DeMasi and 18-year-old Joanne Lomino were shot and seriously wounded in the street on their way home from a movie. On January 30th, 1977, Berkowitz fatally shot Christine Fraud as she sat in the car in Queens with her fiancé. Police began to suspect that these crimes were perpetrated by a single killer, but few bullets were found intact to confirm the assumption. On March 8th, 19-year-old college student Virginia Bosker Richkinen was shot to death as she walked home in Manhattan. A bullet was found intact, and it matched the bullet found at the scene of Berkowitz's first crime. The New York police announced that the serial killer was on the loose, known as to be a white male in his 20s with black hair of average height and build. A large group of detectives was organized, the Omega Task Force, to track the killer down. On April 17th, 18-year-old Valentina Serenia and a 20-year-old Alexander Esau were shot and killed by the same gun as they kissed in their parked car near the Hudson River Parkway. This time, the .44 caliber killer left a note in which he referred to himself as the Son of Sam. On April 29th, Berkowitz shot Sam Carr's Labrador retriever. He had previously sent an anonymous threatening letter to Mr. Carr concerning the animal. The dog recovered, and the Yonkers police began an investigation. Meanwhile, Berkowitz began sending bizarre letters to other neighbors and his former landlords. These individuals began to suspect Berkowitz to be the Son of Sam and reported their suspicions to local police. The Omega Force was subsequently notified, but the detectives had received thousands of reports of the Son of Sam suspects and were having a difficult time sifting through all the dead-end leads. On July 26th, the Son of Sam struck again, wounding Judy Palesco and Sal Lupo as they sat in their car after leaving Queen's Disco. Public concern over the rampaging serial killer grew to panic proportions, and New York nightclubs and restaurants saw a dramatic drop in business. A blistering heat wave and a 25-hour blackout in mid-July only increased the tension. On July 31st, just 2 days after the anniversary of his first killing, Berkowitz shot a young couple kissing in a parked car in Brooklyn. 20-year-old Stacy Makowitz was fatally wounded, and her boyfriend Bobby Valentine lost his left eye and nearly all the vision in his right eye. A few days later, a major break in the case came when an eyewitness came forward to report that she had seen a man with what looked like a gun minutes before the shots were fired in Brooklyn. Her information led to the first police sketch of Berkowitz. More important, she reminded investigators that 2 police officers had been writing parking tickets on her street that night. The search of the tickets issued eventually turned up Berkowitz's car. At the same time, Yonkers police investigated Berkowitz after he escalated a harassment campaign against one of his neighbors. Convinced he was the Son of Sam, they informed the Omega Task Force of their findings. The Omega detectives finally put 2 and 2 together on August 10th. David Berkowitz was arrested while leaving his Yonkers home. He gleefully admitted to being the Son of Sam. On his person was a semi-automatic rifle, and he explained he was on his way to commit another murder. A .44 caliber revolver was also recovered. There was some question about whether Berkowitz was mentally fit to stand trial, but on May 8, 1978, he withdrew an insanity defense and pleaded guilty to the 6 murders. Berkowitz, in fact, appeared to enjoy the media attention his case was receiving, and he proceeded to sell his exclusive story rights to a publishing house. That prompted New York State to adopt the first nationwide series of the so-called Son of Sam laws that take proceeds a criminal earns from selling their story and gives them to a victim. The Victims Comprehension Fund. Berkowitz was given 6 25 years to life sentences for the crime, and the maximum penalty allowed at the time. He has since been denied parole. He is currently held at Shawang Gunk Correctional Facility in upstate New York, where he allegedly converted to Christianity. Thank you for watching this day in history, and if you would, please give it a thumbs up, comment down below, and think about subscribing and share this video out. Somebody else may like a history lesson today. Thank you for watching, and remember to smile, because I love you, but more importantly, God loves you. Bye. I'll see you in my next video.